learn to retrain our core, and the way we're going to do that is learning to core breathe. We're going to do a quick bit of theory and then talk about the setup to begin the core breathing. So, theory. The reason we have to retrain our core is that it's a bit of a bad design. Because of the anatomy of core and because of the muscle physiology of core, it always naturally tends towards imbalance. And I think most of us already know this. There are certain parts of the core that tend to strengthen and train really easily. Usually these guys, usually the long muscles in our back, you can get them really easily doing planks and crunches and Pilates 100s. And then there's this part that is wimpier. So usually down here, pelvic floor, it's harder to turn it on, let alone get it strong, let alone get it powerful. And this is not good because core is a pressure system. It's a group of muscles that forms a cylinder. And its job is to harness, regulate, and control pressure. And when it does this, it can stabilize, upright, and decompress your spine. If parts of this core, the walls, the lid, the bottom, aren't doing their job, the pressure escapes and you don't get the effective core. And I think we all know what that is. Back pain, chronic muscle overuse, so tension in shoulders and hips because muscles are doing a job they're not designed to do. And you stretch them and it doesn't change. There's also changes in posture, you're not as upright. It's harder to breathe. And then we start to see the injuries we get in physio. You get sports hernias, inguinal hernias, because there's this weird pressure that's coming out this way. Prostates get annoyed. In women, you start to see puddles when you train with intense sports, so box jumps, double unders, jumping on a trampoline, running really hard. You pee yourself. So we need to find a system to retrain these muscles to work together, wake up the parts that are wimpy, and get them working together. And core breathing is the best way that I know how to do it. So let's start with setup. It's a cylinder, so let's rebuild the cylinder. Most of us have a big arch in our cylinder. We have too much of a curve back here. Also, most of us have a twist or a shift or something like that. And almost everybody is really narrow and tight through the hips. So there isn't much room down here to bounce pressure around. And if we're gonna get these muscles to work together, they've gotta be able to find each other. So let's rebuild the cylinder. If we get them working together, that'll start using this neural network, this muscle pattern. And luckily, the software for this is in our brain. We just need to wake it up. So starting with the setup, let's get diaphragm, which is the lid, over the pelvic floor, which is the bottom. And I think we all know the entire abdominal wall, transversus in the works, is the wall. So diaphragm, when we're standing upright, there's a fair bit of an arch to it. So the cylinder has a bit of a twist like that. We want to get this top over the bottom. To do that, usually we need our hips bent a bit. So we always start in positions like sitting, where lid's over the base. Squat works really well. It's the same thing as the lean and running. This is where we're way more powerful. It's the ready position, the athletic position. You're way less able to move quickly and generate power when you're really upright. So lid over the base. Next, we were talking about space for the pelvic floor in the area down here. Again, most of us have a lot of overuse of hip muscles, hypertonic posterior pelvic floors. So yoga move, lean to one side, grab the fleshy part of your bum or the sit bone and pull it to the side. Then head over to the other side and do the same thing. And if you do that, it's a really different feel for your back. And it's a good trick to do if you're in the car for a long time or sitting at a desk, that sort of thing. Next, just make sure you don't have a shift or a twist. So just kind of eyeball it, get your shoulders over your pelvic girdle. And lastly, fourth thing, try to be tall. You want to stay tall. As the core works, it should make you taller. You shouldn't crunch, you shouldn't arch. So you're trying to find that spot where you're just balancing on the fence. But don't do it too hard. If you end up being rigid, you're not going to get the same effect. And the whole idea here is to work less and be efficient. You don't need any neck muscles, shoulder muscles, or hip muscles to breathe at rest or to use your core. So often through a core exercise, we'll throw in some rigidity screens. So the nose, the yeses, shoulder circles, even hips in and out, skiers' knees, chicken legs. None of those muscles should be involved. Keep them quiet. Okay, you got your theory? You're kind of set up. Let's turn on some muscles.